Hey there, friend. Welcome to Create Conversations. This podcast is designed to connect you with entrepreneurs and creatives from across the country and sometimes around the world. When I was first starting my business, I really didn't have that sense of community to connect with, to bounce ideas off of, to really know that I'm going the right direction or was doing something right. That's why I created this podcast, to give you that community in hopes that it can inspire you and drive you forward through your entrepreneurial journey. So without further ado, let's create some conversations. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Dakota, my good friend, and she is a senior and wedding photographer. And today we are going to talk about creating an exceptional client experience with a rep team, because she has an amazing senior rep team. And I'm just like, it's amazing. It's really cool. You need to go check it out if you haven't already. So if you want to start off, Dakota, telling us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you. That's so sweet. What an awesome intro. So my name is Dakota Hersey. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. I've been in North Carolina my whole life, so just kind of bouncing back and forth between the middle of the state and the coast of the state. When it comes to my business, I would say that I'm most passionate about people and helping them grow, especially when it comes to business and leading teams. And so I started my career in the marketing agency world, doing a lot of marketing strategy and business strategy. And then recently, this January, actually, I decided to take my photography business full time. So I was really excited to have the opportunity to pour completely into myself. And like you said, I photograph mainly weddings and high school and college seniors. But this year has been super fun, very challenging, but also super rewarding. So
yeah. And how just like as a side note, like how do you feel like it's going, considering this is your first year going full time? Do you think it's a good right jump?
I think it's going really well, like a humble brag. A part of me wants to say it's going better than I expected, but I also tried really, really hard before making the jump to make sure that I was ready. Yeah. So I'm hitting a lot of the goals that I had projected for myself, even if those were more aggressive goals. I was also pretty reasonable with what I was expecting. But it took a few months to kind of figure out what my schedule was going to look like and what it was going to look like. I'm such a people person, like what it was going to look like not being with a team.
Right.
And so that's been a little bit of a struggle, but that's also where the spokesmodel team kind of comes in, because they're almost like an extension of my business that I can go and bounce ideas off of and things like that.
Yeah. So for people who don't know what a rep team is, whether it's a senior rep team or another rep team, could you kind of give a brief explanation of what it is and how it can be beneficial in their businesses?
Yeah, of course. So a spokesmodel, senior rep team, senior representative team is essentially a group of seniors that apply and then are selected to represent your business for the entirety of their senior year. So they are responsible to market and bring in different types of referrals to you, and then in exchange they get free photos and other incentives. I know they get cash bonuses and things like that for certain referrals, and then they also, for my team, we do between like 3 to 4 shoots a year that is additional to their individual session.
Awesome. So how do you feel that this has been beneficial to your business and possibly other people's businesses if they're interested in having a rep team?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's the ways that I thought it was going to be beneficial to me in the very beginning are like, those things are still true, but then there are so many other ways that I wasn't expecting it to help me.
Yeah.
So from the forefront, obviously it's there to help with marketing and things like that. So it's really helped me solidify myself in my area as like the go-to senior photographer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it just has to do with perception, and I have a lot of the girls that are my ideal clients because I hand selected them after they applied. So they really fit my style, which really helps with the types of images that I'm creating and being able to put out there. they also are just, they're so awesome about posting. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things that like you can talk about yourself all day long, but when somebody else talks about you, that's when it really makes an impact.
Right.
So
Right.
that part has been great. That's been probably the biggest way. I also get a lot of feedback from them. So when I was talking about using them as a team, they're also the ones that like when I have an idea for something that is a little out of the box or something that I want to try new, I will bring it to them and ask them what they think. And they're usually they're very nice, but they're also very honest with me if they think that something isn't going to resonate with their friends, or like if somebody wouldn't pay for something, or if they think, you know, the idea is like there could be a better idea, I guess.
Yeah.
They give me that kind of feedback, and then they're also just super encouraging. So when I have good ideas, they love to tell me that my ideas are great, which is really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what made you want to start a senior rep team? Like right when you started your business, or what was kind of like, yes, I need this?
Yeah, so I had the business and I was doing photography for a couple of years before I decided to do a spokesmodel team. I decided I wanted to do one right around the time that I knew I wanted to go all in on seniors.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really important because I've had a couple of people ask me about the spokesmodel team and, you know, how do I start a rep team? And it's honestly a ton of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not completely ready to focus on seniors and put that much time and effort into it, then I don't know if it's the best route for somebody else. But once I decided that I love seniors, this is what I'm most passionate about, this is who I want to focus on, that's kind of when the idea of having the spokesmodel team come in. And then the other part of it is I've always been like, I guess a girl's girl. Like I love being on teams with other women, and like all the way back in high school and cheerleading. And then I was super involved in my sorority in college. I actually worked for them. So I have a lot of experience in this kind of age group of the like high school senior woman to early college. And so I loved that experience of working with them. So when I saw other photographers doing it, I was like, I want to have my own community. Like I want to be able to pour into them too and create an experience that goes beyond just taking their pictures. So Hope Taylor actually came out with this spokesmodel course, which she just released the second version of that. That's like got a ton of awesome stuff in it. So I took that. That was a really, really big resource to me of just helping me get all of the like email copy and like little fine-tuned details of things sorted out. So I used that as my blueprint to launch my first year, which went about as good as it could go. It was a little rocky in the beginning, but now I've been able to kind of expand it and make it my own, and it's like my favorite part of my business.
That's great. That's great. What have you, because I know you've mentioned this to me, that you've like changed things from like what Hope taught like us.
Yeah.
Of course, like what things do you find that's very beneficial with people who teach about a spokesmodel team, or and like what things have you personally changed if you're willing to share?
Yeah, of course. I think one of the big things is just making sure that you're treating anything else that someone's teaching to you like a blueprint. Like you should follow it pretty closely, but also like my market is completely different from Hope's. It's completely different from yours. Like, I don't know, because I know that you and I have talked about before, even the seasons. Like a lot of photographers tell me that their busy seasons in the summer, I don't have any seniors in the summer because it's too hot. But in other places, like that's the only time that you can really go outside.
Right.
So I think it's important to know what your market is doing. So for me, seniors don't normally think about senior photos until their senior year. Like they're not thinking about it their junior year. They're not going to invest that early. And so I run my applications at the very end of the year. So they find out before the previous year graduates, but it's normally like May. And then we don't do our group shoot until summer, and then they start booking their senior sessions in the fall. Okay. I know. Yeah. So Hope and some of the other people, because their markets are different, they start shooting within their junior year. I'm sure if I tried hard enough, I could get people to to like do that shift. But it was honestly difficult to get the people in my market to even understand what a spokesmodel team was to begin with. Right. And so I think that you kind of have to figure out like what is your market, what are they going to respond to, and then how can I shift this to make it work for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Because something that was weird for me, like moving from Wisconsin to Tennessee, and it's like, oh, no one shoots in the summer, and I'm like, why? But now,
right?
Why?
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and because that was the same thing. And I've talked to other senior photographers and my friends who have rep teams, and I'm like, oh, how do you do this? And they'll say something. I'm like, that would just not work here, like that. And so I don't think that it's a bad thing. I think that it's just, I just know my market super well, and I use the spokesmodel team to understand, like, why does everyone want to be in the spring? Why does everyone want to like book multiple sessions? That's something that I have that I don't normally end up paying out the cash referrals. They actually end up using it for additional sessions. Oh. And so most of my seniors in my area will have anywhere between 1 to 3 sessions their senior year, wow. Which is wild because nobody else does that.
It's more like for me, like, hey, get your senior photos. All right, that's it.
I know. Yeah, no, here it's awesome. I mean, I love it because it's great for me, but it's very, like we have to have our individual, and we have to have like cap and gown and sports, some with friends. And I'm just like, I'm here for all of it.
Right. What makes your experience, your client experience on your senior rep team different than others?
It was interesting when I read this question because I was like trying to figure out how I was going to answer it. And I think it's funny because part of me is like, it's not that much different than the senior rep program that you see. Like, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I didn't come up with this concept. I just made it very much my own and very much fit what I wanted to do, which I think is just an important note that like, we're not all here to create the next, be the next Steve Jobs and come up with this thing. Like, we're just here, to make it our brand and make it fit us. And the goal that I had was to create an experience with my seniors that goes beyond just getting their pictures done. Like, I really want to build into these women and create a community. My ultimate goal is to make sure that, one day that my Dakota Hersey seniors will be Dakota Hersey brides. So having them part of this team where I really get to know them and be a part of their senior year. And now a lot of them are juniors in college, and like, I still hear from them. They still very much talk to me all the time. They want to know what's happening with the team. So I think in a way it's very much the structure is the same, but then for me, what makes it different is that one, I was the first one to bring it to my area and like bring it to my market, which already sets me apart in that way. So if no one near you is doing it, highly recommend looking into that. And then 2, I am trying to be the one that's like being really creative about what I'm doing, bring a lot of my own personality into it, and then also make it last further than just their senior year. Like, this year we did an alumni beach day, and I had girls from previous teams come to meet the girls from the new team, and like, they loved it. Everyone knows each other. And a lot of them are like rooming together or want to like go to the same college as the girls from the previous year. So that part has been really fun for me.
That's so cute. And also plug for Dakota's team, because you did the shoot on a yacht this year.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is amazing. And your shirts were so cute. I'm like, yes, all the things. Like,
thank you so much.
Cute. Yeah.
Which is so funny because it's, like when someone tells you that your outfit's cute and if you got it on sale, you're just like, oh, also like it was 75% off.
Right.
That's how I feel about my senior spokesmodel shoot. So this summer, the summer shoot is the one that I go all out on. Like, I buy all of the things. Like, every other shoot beyond this is relatively inexpensive because it's mainly just for fun. Mm-hmm. But this is the one that like I really get to be creative, and it's about I don't want to say it like this, but it's like about what I want. Like, it's like my vision, and we're the whole other year I have to be doing everything about what is their vision and what's their personality. So it's really like a style shoot for me.
Yeah.
And so this year I decided I had this vision of like being on a giant boat. I wanted a yacht. It was only like $200 on Airbnb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is cheaper than a venue.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, and I got it for 24 hours. So it's so interesting because now I'm like, use Airbnb for all of my venue. When I'm like looking for a venue, I'm just, we'll go to Airbnb and see if we can find a cute house or something fun, because they got all these really cool places rent out. So we ended up renting out the boat, and then it was so hot because it was a heat wave, but it's fine. We made it through because it was worth it.
Yeah.
But then the next day, like, I took all of my friends that came to help me, and we went out and had mimosas on the boat in the morning. So I was like, got every penny worth for that shoot.
That's so awesome. Yeah. And I think that just like me being an outsider, like seeing your team, and I think that the fact that year after year you don't do the same thing, like you try to do something different, like with the shoots, and I feel like that really sets you apart, which is why I'm like, this is amazing, because you don't do the same thing, you do something different to like inspire new seniors to join your team.
Right. Yeah, I would say that's like, that was another benefit that I was going to add earlier, and I think I forgot it, to say that it's also just a really good opportunity to be creative. And I'm using the money from the girls paying me, because they do pay to be a part of the team, for their individual session. So unlike a style shoot where a lot of that is coming out of your own pocket, or you're getting people to donate, I am like, it's still coming out of my pocket because it's coming from what the girls have paid me, but it's really an awesome opportunity to collaborate with people who, like, the girls that do their makeup and hair will probably do their makeup and hair for their individual sessions.
Right.
And then I get to really challenge myself for like, how can I create the ideal senior photo shoot that would attract the other types of girls that I want to work with throughout the year.
Right.
So I've got ideas for next year. I'm really excited. My seniors also, they have ideas too, when they'll see other people doing things, and they'll be like, I want to do this too. And so that's kind of fun because they feel like they get to be a part of the process.
Right. That's awesome. I know I was like rereading this question. It's kind of a loaded question. How do you think putting so much into your senior rep team has helped you build a better client experience? I know that's kind of a loaded question.
No, I think that's probably the biggest thing that came from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one, it's a better client experience because I'm attracting clients that are my ideal clients. Like, those are the people that I want to work with. They're the people that I have built all of my processes and stuff around.
Right.
So I think overall, like, I'm happier because I'm working with people who value me and love my style. They're happier because they're getting exactly what they're looking for. And I'm using the spokesmodel team to educate people and attract the right people. So I think that helps from like the very, very, very beginning of it. Like I said, I also ask them for feedback. So if they're the ones, like, they will give me a lot of really candid feedback about how people are feeling. And I try to get really close with them throughout the year so that way they will be candid with me and will just tell me things whenever things come up. Not that like there's a bunch of bad stuff. A lot of times it's positive feedback, which is, just as good.
Right.
And then I would say it's interesting because when I was thinking about this question, my client experience for my seniors is completely different now than it was before I had my spokesmodel team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it came from the fact that you have to be organized and you have to create a really, really good experience for them, because the moms are very much a part of it too. And if they're not having a good time and they feel like things are really unorganized with the team, then they're not going to go and tell other people about how great your experience is when you're not on the team, like, or just to work with me in general. And so, I could get into like all of the little things that happen when you fill out a form with me, but all of that stuff I would say came from the fact that if I knew I was going to bring in a bunch of people from this program and try to run people through this program and use it as a marketing tool, then I needed to be ready to offer a really awesome client experience for the girls on the team and then the girls that just came as to be, regular seniors.
Right. Do you find that with your senior rep team, do you like test things out? Like if you want to do like something, or if you want to change the experience a little bit for your regular senior clients, do you like test it out on your rep team or not necessarily?
Yeah, I would say sometimes, yeah. Especially when it comes to, I mean, I tried the like really cute t-shirts this year with them. Part of me thinks that I might work that into my experience. I also test out new locations with them. Since they worked with me before, it doesn't, they're just much more trusting of me. So I can go and try places that, I'm like, I've looked at this. I think it's going to be fine. Let's try it. And they're usually like, heck yeah, I want to go wherever you want to go. Like, what you tell me what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so that part's really fun too, because then when I have a senior who is getting to know me during their session, then I've already tried all of that stuff. Normally the spokesmodels get the first go at everything.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Do you think anyone could have a rep team photographer or not? And why or why not?
I was also thinking about this question because I was like, yeah, I think so. Because when you really break it down, it's an influencer strategy. Like, you're essentially getting a group of people who are your target market and have some type of influence in, Jenna Kutcher says everyone's an influencer, even if you have one follower. So pulling it a little bit from her, but it's interesting because yeah, these girls, like, they have a following, and their following isn't like hundreds of thousands of people online. It's the people that I want to work with. So I think if you are, a boutique or an ice cream shop or something where you have people that you've identified an ideal client and you know the market, then I don't see why you wouldn't be able to use some type of influencer strategy. It might not look exactly the same, and I think that then comes down to just understanding what your goal is from the team, or from having other people do some marketing and influencing for you, and then structuring it that way, which kind of comes back to making sure that you're using any instructions or what other people are doing as a blueprint, and not necessarily making it part of your program just because, oh, well, she does cash referrals, so I need to do cash referrals. Like, that may be very much be something that I take out of my stuff because people are really only using them as credit. So, I could change things around if I really want to.
Just out of curiosity, how long, I feel like you told me this, but I don't remember. How long have you been doing your senior rep team to like get it to this point where you're like, I feel like this is a good group, where you take things in and out?
Yeah, so this is my third team.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, I'm trying to think. Yes, it's my third team. It feels like it's been forever, but yeah, and it's so funny because I tell the story of my first team all the time because I'm like, everyone's like, oh, this is so awesome. I'm like, yeah, you should have. The first team was, the team was great and it ended up being really good, but I definitely didn't know what I bit off before I bit it off. I was like, I'm going to do this thing. It's going to be great. I got my email copy. I'm good. And then I was just trying to do it too quickly and didn't really like plan ahead as far as like the stuff that was happening in my personal life. And when I had another job that I was doing. And so there was a point where like I had a mom come back and she was like, this feels really disorganized. And that was the moment that I was like, I either need to refund everybody and just pretend like this didn't happen, or I need to like just take a weekend to just get my crap together and make sure that this is going to be a really good experience, because the worst thing is if you try to do something, don't have it together, and then it hurts you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but other than after that, I had that like one little moment where I was like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I am the captain now. Like, everyone can pay attention to me, and I'm gonna tell you what to do. And they loved it from then on out. So
yeah, and I think that's something that people don't realize. Like, I mean, I didn't realize it at all, which was why I was like, I don't know what I should do with a senior team. Obviously, it's a lot different now, but I think that's something people really don't understand going into a senior rep team. It can have great great rewards, but it has like, you need to know what you're going into. And I don't think
Right.
a lot of the time you know until you're in it and you're like, oh, this is
Right. Right. Well, right. And it's kind of like when you like, I'm going to do a big sale or a big promotion or something, and then you don't have something on the back end that like adds to the experience, and then that doesn't work, and then everyone's mad at you and you're like, I was just trying to help.
I was just trying this. So kind of shifting gears, what do you think makes an exceptional client experience?
Which is funny because this actually tails off of like basically what I was just talking about, because I think client experience is such an interesting topic to see how people talk about it. And I think at its core, you know, it is passion, and like truly caring about your clients is going to be the heart of a really good client experience. But what I found, and maybe it's just because I love business strategy and like the marketing strategy, and that's what I used to do when I helped my clients at marketing agencies. Like I was very much like, but how are we going to make that happen?
Right.
And so I think a big part of your client experience is organization. And so I think that you can love your clients all day long and like have a huge heart for them, but if you are not delivering an actual good process and a good experience for them, then it's going to affect how they feel about you. And I think like that goes to, you know, missing emails or losing information or not, you know, creating a seamless process from the moment that they fill out a form or the moment that they contact you is going to affect how they feel about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so I like relate that back to one time I went and got my nails done, and my overall, like the guy was super awesome. He remembered my name from the last time that I'd been in there. He was talking to me like, I think that he thinks that he gave me a really awesome experience, which he did until I left and I looked down and like, I hated the way that he did my nails. Like he didn't do the job that he was supposed to do for me. And so therefore I look back on that and I'm like, I'm never going back there again. He was really nice. Like I'll tell people that he was really nice, but the actual like, okay, now I need to get my photos done. Like, and then I need to have them edited, delivered to me. Like all of those things have to be very much be in order too, for people to feel like they got their values worth.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. Is there any advice that you would give anyone wanting a rep team or to give their clients an exceptional client experience? Because they kind of work hand in hand in a way.
Yeah. Which I sound probably like a beaten record or a broken record at this point. But I would say a lot of it has to come, if you're going to do a rep team, to really understand what your goal with it is, which this is when you're launching anything new in your business. Like you just need to make sure that you understand what the goal of it is and then build it around that so that every move that you're making, you can always like gut check it with that. If, you know, if I want to do something crazy and wild, and if I wanted to spend all this money on doing like a photo shoot with my spokesmodels every month, that wouldn't really make sense because my goal is to bring in more seniors. And I don't know how doing that would bring in more seniors. I could do something else. So I think that it's making sure that you have like, that you understand what your goals are. And then also just like really thinking through your idea. So like, think of what you want to do, poke all of the holes in it that you possibly can poke into it, set the goals for it, and then figure out exactly like every little piece. You're going to find stuff out along the way. Like I definitely have launched things before that I'm like, I don't know. I didn't anticipate this thing happening, right. Which is kind of just business ownership in general. But I do think it's important to think about that because like we were just talking about, like you could be missing the very basic things that you need to have to create a really good experience. And then all of this extra work that could be really, really cool is now not, I don't know, it's not getting the like respect and everything that it deserves.
Yeah, for sure. Is there like one thing when creating your team or when anyone creates a team, what is one thing that you're always like, this is what you need to know. This is the one thing that I can tell you from my experience.
Oh, that's a good question. The like easiest one that comes to me, which is so funny, and I think it's just because this is where I slipped up with the first team, is to just like you need to have dates. Like you need to know what dates things are going to happen, because when you're managing a group of 10 plus people and they're expecting to get, they're expecting to be a part of something, picking out dates for the year and making sure that everyone can be there and scheduling their individual sessions was probably like the biggest hurdle for me. So that's normally my like warning, like, oh, this is really exciting, but also like make sure you have your dates written down and that everybody is aware of them and knows that they can come. And then other than that, I think really looking through your application and making sure that you have a way to, it's okay to make it pretty lengthy. You're going to spend a lot of time with these girls and like, or guys too. You're going to pour a lot into them. So I think that it's okay for the application to be longer. This year I added a video option where they could submit a video of themselves.
Oh, wow.
That was fantastic because I feel like I really got to know their personalities more than, because sometimes the applications start to all sound the same because they're trying to make themselves sound good, which is great, but it's hard to get to know somebody's personality if they're not like talking to you.
Right.
And so that I thankfully have had really, really awesome girls on all of my teams that have made it really fun. They've all meshed together. And I think that that came from having a really solid and lengthy application.
Yeah. Awesome. So last question that I ask everyone, what is the best thing to you about being an entrepreneur?
So I also, every question I put so much thought into this. Like I was like, I need to like impart some wisdom, or I don't know, like, well, how do I really feel about this thing? So it's funny because I think that when it really comes down to it, my favorite part about being an entrepreneur is that I am a person who loves to see results. Like I am like instant gratification. I really think it comes from, I'm an Enneagram 2 wing 3. So I like want to help people, but I also want to be the best, which is just like an interesting combination. And so like, it really means a lot to me, and I feel the most fulfilled when I know that I'm making an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been drawn to like the startup culture. Both of the marketing agencies that I was at were very like, they were very startup. They were only a couple of years old. Everyone there, you kind of wore a million hats and you need to just figure out how to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned that I very much thrive in the like high risk, high reward type area.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it comes from the fact that like you and everyone in that environment is like really operating with the mindset of like what I do matters, and I have full ownership of what I'm doing. And so I personally love that about being an entrepreneur, that like I get to pour everything and then I get really immediate results. Like there's nothing that I'm doing that is just, well, I just need to do it because someone's boss's boss told me that I had to.
Right.
And there's like not really a reason behind it.
Yeah.
Which is, I would not work in the corporate world, because anytime someone tells me to do something, I'm like, why?
Like, why should I do that? Yeah.
Yeah. Not in a bad way. I just want to make sure that like it's gonna have an impact somewhere. Like, why are we doing this?
Right. There's a reason. There's a reason to it.
Right. And it's not always going to be fun. And some of it's like, well, the reason is because someone has to do it. So you're that someone. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
As long as someone will notice that it's happening, that's fine. It's going to take somebody.
You have a purpose.
Right. So with my own business, I do it all anyways. So I'm like, yep, this happened. And then like, I get to like have a pat on the back, or I get to, wait 6 months to see what happens, but it's usually never longer than a couple of months before I like actually get to see some results. So I love that part very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast and talking about everything. Where can people find you if they want to stalk you and your spokesmodel team?
Yes. So you can see all the spokesmodel stuff at my website, which is dakotaherseyphotography.com. And then social is all pretty easy. Thankfully, I have a relatively unique name. So I've been able to get at Dakota Hersey and at Dakota Hersey Photography on pretty much everything. So I do have my photography account and then my personal account, just because, twice the amount of sharing. It's great. So you can find me on all of those places. And then, yeah, it's Hersey, like Hershey, but without the H.
Got it. Got it.
People get so confused. They're like, oh, the Hershey bar. I'm like, no, I wish, because then I would be rich. So.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to today's podcast. And until next time, bye, guys.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you leave a review, because that really, really helps us grow the show. If you want to continue to support this podcast, head over to our Patreon from the link in the description or the link in the show notes, where you can sign up for one of 3 tiers where you get exclusive merch, a direct line to me to tell me who I should have on the show, as well as getting to hear and see the podcast days before it releases to the public. I'm so excited for all the other exciting things that I'm going to be sharing with my patrons, and I can't wait to see you there. This podcast is also sponsored by HoneyBook. HoneyBook is an amazing client management service that I've been using for years, and they are absolutely incredible. They are so incredible that they're giving you guys an exclusive deal for 50% off your first year with them. That is a $200 savings, which is so crazy and so amazing. So you guys should head over to the link in the description or the link in the show notes to grab that amazing deal. This podcast is edited and produced by Earbrads. You can find them at Earbrads on Instagram or at earbrads.com. You can find me at Vanessa Jordan Photo on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, and you can also find me on my YouTube channel, Vanessa Jordan Photography, if you are listening to the podcast version and not watching the YouTube version of this podcast. And you can also find me at vanessajordanphotograph.com. And until next time, I cannot wait to create some amazing conversations with you.